Do you mind leading us in prayer?
Dear gracious Father, we thank you for this day, this gathering that you have allowed us to do on today. We ask you, oh God, to come in this room, oh God, and touch the hearts of every person in this room, that we may, oh God, reverence you, oh God, first of all, and one another, and we show respect, and let this meeting, oh God, go according to the will and what you have it to be, oh God. And Lord, let our hearts speak what we need to speak, oh God, and show respect to one another. And let it, oh God, be assembled as you in this holy place, oh God. Show yourself strong in here, oh God. And Lord, we give your sweet name the praise on today. Lord, we just give you praise and glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Did we have anybody sign up for public comment? Is there anybody in the audience want to make a public comment? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and go to the approval of the November minutes. Do I have a motion?
I make the motion that we approve the November minutes as presented.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstention? Minutes approved. Okay, with that said, we have a guest here tonight. Wade Wynn is here to present on behalf of Sun Bistro, the project that he has in front of us. Wade, I'm going to go ahead and turn the floor over to you.
Bill, how much time do I have?
About 3 minutes.
I gotta go really quick.
No.
We didn't really have a time on the minutes, but, you know, keep everybody's time in place, cover your reserve.
Okay. Time's up. You guys ready to
I
go?
apologize for that.
So that is a picture of a parking spot. So that is a board that I use that if you guys have any questions, write it down. And I'll do my best to answer it. If I don't know the answer, I'll just pass and I'll come back. Can I get someone to help me do this right over here? So I think all we have to do is put down.
Forward the slides.
Right there. Behind the slide, just put that right there. If you go to the very first slide. Just by a show of hand, how many was here in May when I presented? Oh, okay. Okay, so less than 15%. I mean, 3. Okay, good. Well, I'm really glad that Bill and Mr. McLean reached out to me so that I can present this, so that you can see what I'm bringing. It's just not another restaurant. You know, I think how I want to start off is show you guys a little bit about me, so that you understand, get to know me, who I am. I'm not just another business owner. I'm not just a dad. I'm not just a person that makes money, loses money, or go travel. I think knowing a little bit of history about what I do, what I stand for, is important. What I bring to the table, and what I can help, help with Jasper. Some of my friends, you guys can hear me?
A couple of us are having trouble, so go ahead and use the microphone for me.
Some of my friends in Austin and San Antonio was like, dude, where'd you grow up? And I was like, I came from a very small town. It's like 6,000 to 7,000 people. I always bumped it up to 10,000. And for me, I am proud of it because it is home. At the end of the day, I know that if I have a business, I can always come here and son and aunt will always take care of me. You know, for me, both my parents have passed away in the last 2 years, and so for here, it is home. So, just to start off, I do want to go pretty quick on this. I don't want to waste anybody's time, but I do want to address the important concerns and all the questions you have. At first, we're gonna start about, a little about me. I'm gonna talk about the 410, 450, 458 Gibson project. 410 is the old Pizza Hut. 450 is the new address that, that Journey gave us for the new building. And then 458 is the old et cetera, which we bought from this employer, about a couple years ago. What does this project do? I do believe that Jasper do need a place that can bring the community together. I don't want to just open another restaurant. I don't want to just put another building up. And it's too easy. It's really easy for me to put a tin metal building and, you know, slap some bricks on and some windows and put a slab and some parking spot and then run a business, make our money, and keep it to yourself. But then, why am I doing it? I think when I ask myself that question, I remember the time when my first group of waitress and staff was able to get the first car. They were able to get their first, rental. They were able to move out of their house. Some went on to college, some went on to be great waitresses and managers at restaurants. And it's the little thing that they say, I've learned everything from Ms. Hall, there's a reason why she pushes me to do things. Now, does a restaurant, is it a fast-paced restaurant? Absolutely, yes. But we're forced to do it with speed. Speed is important in business. You don't want to wait on a customer slowly. Here's your food, here's your drink. I mean, it irritates. We also learned that lunch, people don't have 30 minutes for lunch. Dinner, it can take time. And that varies from place to place. It depends on the day. On the weekend, we have more customers that have more leisure time. But during the middays, some of them we find that they order 2 goals, not just 1, but 3, 4. They dry camp fill and store it in the refrigerator. So those are the things that we see. But then why not take this opportunity and create something great? I have been working with smaller cities, like for example Cedar Park. I've worked with San Antonio, downtown San Antonio, how these landscapes, how an environment can change the dynamic of a human interaction. For example, if I put a table in the middle, it depends on how I seat you guys. If I seat you opposed to each other, and you guys don't know each other, it's going to be a little awkward. Right? But if I sit you guys next to each other at an angle, it makes it more easier, more comfortable, right? But if I sit you guys apart, it creates a different dynamic. And so when we designed this restaurant, we didn't design just a restaurant, we designed a space that brings about a community. A space, instead of spending 5, 10, 15 minutes, they're going to spend 30 minutes, an hour, after a point, hey, let's gather. I do remember the owner of Elijah's. Robbie created fifth quarter. I thought that was really great. Is that still happening? Those things. And it's those things that doesn't cost money. But where do those kids go? Do they go in the wood? Buy some beer, drink underage? We've been through all that. But the question is, what can we do that is legal, that is healthy, and that not only involves the younger generation, 30s, 40s, the seniors. How does it promote health? How does it promote vitality? And my hope today is to show Jasper what it can do, how it can change. And I can't do this by myself. And first, if I can also apologize to my architect and my engineer cannot be here. The engineer said maybe, but the architect was able to come, but last minute he couldn't, as well. So please excuse that. Behind me is a big team of managers, big team of business partners. And I only talk to my managers. I rarely talk to my employees. That's just how it works. I don't know. I've outgrown that stage. And I do believe that I am the right person to run this business and run this center. It's not going to be a failure. It's impossible. I've done it so many times. It's very kind of like a routine. It's become a habit. Lastly, I'll show you guys some actual rendering, and I'll run the numbers so that we understand. like, I was a little shocked that, there was only 3 people. I thought it was like for sale, somehow half, that was there in May. And so that's a good start. But then by other means, I also want to know who here has built a house from scratch. Okay. What would you say the price per square foot would be for a house? Now.
350 to 400.
Okay, 400 square foot. So 2,000 square foot house would cost us, is that right? Let's just say 600, right? In Sioux, right? In Jasper, maybe, I don't know, 350, 400, something like that, 100, 150.
Nobody's gonna build a house that big in Jasper.
Okay.
Not now, no way.
Okay.
That's why we're here.
Okay, so residential is different from commercial, and so I hope I can open that eyes. How many here have built a commercial project from the ground up?
The church.
The church. Okay, so I would consider that commercial, somewhat. Okay. Could you move on to the next slide? I'm sorry. I always ask myself, before I started a project, I ask myself, what am I doing today? Constantly, it's always been with me. What am I doing today to get there tomorrow? What am I doing today? Do I decide to go out and have a drink with my friends on a Saturday night, or I'd rather go home, sleep, and have a good night rest, wake up for church, go mow the yard, go do things that help the house? I ask myself these questions. Same thing applies with the business. If I'm starting a project, what is my return on investment? What am I doing? Am I making more money? Does more money make me happy? Does more money solve problems? And I think that question is different for everyone. But if along the way I can make money and I can help out the community, because I do believe business success brings success. That means if you're successful, go draw successful business. I've seen it in cities. I've seen Frisco, how it grew. I've seen Cedar Park, it's grown tremendously. Now, the city of San Antonio have over 455 projects in 2026. So Jasper, if we can get 10, I think that would be great. If we get 5, I think that would be a great start. I don't know. I don't know how much the city has in permits, but my hope is it does start that. Okay. The next one. Yes. I was born in Vietnam in 1983. My parents, we immigrated from Vietnam because of the war. We were on the sea for 8 nights, 7 days. We were picked up by the Philippines. I wasn't born here in the U.S. I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to speak English. I didn't know how to put a sentence together until I was in 3rd grade. So I had a big disadvantage. But because of what has been taught for me when I was at the restaurant, those things have given me valuable lessons that I still hold dearly to today. In 1992, we moved from Cali to Texas. My dad opened a Chinese kitchen in April of 1994. We operated for about 7 years. In 2021, my dad sold it to my uncle, which still operates right now. In 2022, I went to BYU. And that was in January of 22. I had almost a junior credit, and so I was able to finish my bachelor's in accounting within 2 years. I did year-round. I don't recommend that because I did lose out on college. I did lose out on the party. I did lose out on the day. But that's just me. I don't have a problem working 16, 18 hours, 6, 7 days. I still do right now. I'm 42. It's just in my DNA. And so when someone asks me, what does this do? I go to bed thinking about things. What can I do this next month? What can I do at the new year? And so far, 2 years in a row, I've built buildings. I've built plazas. I built projects that are gonna be successful. I'm tired of renting. I really am, and I learned the hard way. Now, my biggest failure was putting $700,000 in a restaurant that was $15,000 rent. We sold 1.8 million, but we lost 54,000. It didn't make sense, you know, and so that was a big lesson that I learned. And then throughout that, I asked myself the question, why do I become a landlord? And so slowly we bought the gold, etc. from Miss Gordon. About a year, 2 years later, for some reason, in miraculous, and I do believe it's divine intervention, the Pizza Hut became available. And we purchased it. I didn't hesitate. I didn't have the money, but I made it happen. Within 7 months, I paid the money back to my friend. And so here we are. You know, we put some money into it. I'm sorry, I'll move on. I moved to Austin in June of 2024. 5 months later, I opened my first business within 6 months. I signed the lease. In 120 days, I got permitted, did everything, opened up my first business. I ended up selling that business along with 2 other businesses to a technical beauty school, college. And so that was my first success, but also my first mistake. That was the year 2008. And so I have experience when it comes to economic downturn. I have experience when it comes to cutting costs. You know, there's 2 things that's very important in business, every business, which is sales, high sales, and cutting costs, right? You can be good in either one or the other, but if you have both, even better. Okay, next one. I do have 2 kids. The first one just went to college, and the other one is still with her mother. In my business experience, we opened up the Sunday Beach on August 7th of 2014 here. I believe we signed that lease right around March. We checked. We had to chat to him. I did a lot of work myself, and I barely had, less than $200,000 at the time. It was just pure renovation. And back then, the cost of everything was half the cost, even 1/3 the cost right now. Along the way, I got my pilot license, headed my house in 2020 during COVID. My highest achievement, and this may shock you guys, and I say this with humbleness, because I didn't get there by myself. I got there with great business partners. I got there with people who are much older than me, and they provide guidance, they provide wisdom. Like I said, behind me is a group of team from Central Texas that can help out with this. My highest sales was in the month of August. We sold 430,000 in sales. It's a bar. It's called Lunar Rooftop. It's a 6,200 square feet outdoor bar. It's alcohol. I just happen to be better at alcohol right now than I am at a restaurant. But I do know how to operate a restaurant very well too. Right now, I have 2. Down to 2 restaurants. At the most, I had 6 restaurants at one time. That was in 2021, right after COVID. All the restaurants went out. I acquired 4 of them, opened it all up. They were sold it for a profit. And then that's how I got some money to buy this Goya, did among other things. And I was glad I did that. Currently right now, I hold 4 TV's licenses because the other 2 venues are bars. I consider myself a full-time real estate developer. My hope today, like I said, is to show you guys the numbers. The numbers don't lie, and my goal is also to be transparent. I have made a decision to make all these spreadsheets available so that you guys can find home through the construction costs. You guys can also compare it with other utility costs, so you guys can understand where I'm coming from, why the number is what it is. The next one, sir. I promise I'll speed this up. This is my project in San Antonio. I acquired this building, or this piece of land. It's 2 blocks away from the Riverwalk. We bought it, it was a great opportunity, just right after COVID. In 2000, after I sold my 3 restaurants, I bought this building. It was 20,000 square feet, 20,500 square feet, it was half an acre. Bought it for just slightly under 1.5 million. We just finally finished the development plan this April. So instead of starting in Jasper, we had to start here because the whole cost was so much more. We're almost done. We're probably 1 month away from being finished. It is a historical property. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and it has to define within the historical work. That's what they want. The utility alone, at first, I thought it was going to be around 200,000. Nowhere near. My power tap alone was 35,000. My meter tap was 17,000. Basically, utility cost me slightly 786,800. So right around 787. I was able to pull out a construction loan from 1.159, and banks these days they use what's called a build system. Right? Are you guys familiar with that? They fund about $300 billion worth of commercial work, and it's a tracking system using AA's G702, G703. It's how you submit it. They have an independent construction inspector comes out. You do your work, they pay you, right? My goal for this job is not to go through that again. I have some money. I'm willing to invest it here, but I need help. I need help to level the playing field, like I told Bill. On top of that, I contributed 224,000 of my own money. I have 2 tenants who is investing 600,000. That means that everything they put inside my building, if they go and solve it, I own, right? You understand that part? So overall, this cost of this project is slightly under 4.5. What you can see on this lower right hand is the historical house. The one on the left is another historical building. It's a brick building. We're converting that into a bar. And then what's really popular around the U.S. is almost all the tennis centers that has been vacant, they converted what's called pickleball. And if you go to Houston, you'll see a lot of pickleball courts. Some of you guys are like, what is that? Is that pickleball? No, it's really just like tennis, but it slows down. It's great for someone that doesn't even know how to play tennis, and they can play it. It's also great for older people because it slows it down. And it's really fun. It's a small court, about 20 foot wide, 40 feet long, and it's mostly doubles. There are sometimes there's singles. And it even gets more fun when alcohol's involved. And so kind of like talk off. You guys go play talk off, drink a little bit, get some shots, and hopefully you don't shank it. And so that's kind of like what we're bringing to San Antonio. The reason why we also brought this is that they just approved a $1.3 billion package to do the Marvel project, right? So San Antonio, the reason why they have to stimulate this, the reason why they have to print this money to make it happen is that success brings success. Success, economic spurts brings other business. When the opportunity comes, there will, by the way, that vote was 48 against the project. So we beat it by 52. So it's a very narrow margin. And my hope is to beat that number tonight. I'm not asking for a decision tonight. I'm asking for understanding. I'm asking for support. And I ask you to go home and make it available online. Go research it. Okay? The numbers don't lie. You move on. What is the Sun Asian Bistro project? It comprises 3 buildings. The way that we did this, we didn't just talk about the building. We approached it with 2 methods, right? The very first thing is we approached it with, we wanted to design landscaping. Landscaping is a powerful tool for the community building because it transforms unused space, basic space, into shared, vibrant destinations to encourage interaction, collaboration, and collective sense of pride. Right? How do you design the landscape? The relationship from the outside to the inside brings people together. In creating the space, we spent a lot more money towards green space. We encourage spontaneous meeting. There are seating chairs, there are a hammock, there's not a fire pit. We wanted to also bring in plants that were native around here. We didn't use a pine, but we used like dogwood, we used, we didn't use cactus, we used grass ferns. We use Japanese maple, that is found in the, Central Texas. We also want to create a space that has visual cohesion. Not all, the 3 buildings we put together is not just any building. It looks cohesive. We also want to design a space that reflects the culture. We didn't create something that's just crazy. We created something that the Jasper residents would be proud of. We also believe that it would promote health. I mean, if you're sitting in a place that's clean and it's green and it's nice, it brings that tranquil feeling, right? Remember the time that you went to a place that's just so peaceful and nice, you're sitting on the beach, that's the feeling we want to bring. But we also want to bring in performance improvement. It can also be used as a flexible event space. One thing that we learned that behind our space, there's a farmer's market. How can we bring that, incorporate it onto our property? How do we encourage that more farmer's market? I was able to attend some of those events about a couple of years ago. It's very, very different from what Austin does and what these other big cities do. They have vendors who pay for space, and they're in very nice apartments between 2 buildings, very nice sceneries, and encourages more people to come. Here we just have a parking lot, and I would like to see if we can bring it onto this property, promote it, do consistently. Healthy eating is important. Why are we eating French fries? I mean, why are we eating processed food? I think that when we're young, when we're 18, we'll drink as much Coke as we want. When we get older, we'll cut back on those things. We'll cut back on fried food. For me, I'm a firm believer of eating healthy, because what you do today determines what happens at 60, 70. I genuinely believe that. The highest centurion, the country with the highest centurion, I mean, people over 100, is Japan. They eat a lot of raw food, and they consume a lot of organics. It's just basically food without, plants without pesticides. That's all it is. Next one, sir. The second, this is our landscape. Let's put some pictures so that you can see what we're bringing. I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to put this type of atmosphere into the project. My money, right? But what you see on superficial are these. But what you don't see underneath is the drainage system, the sewer, the electricity, right? The 600 MCM cable. Those are like what, $27 a foot, and we got 350, 4 wires, 2 sets. Do the math. So it's very expensive. So I do believe space brings about people. You would sit here. Now, there may be restaurant owners who's like, well, if I approve this project, man, it's going to be really hard. They're going to get more customers. It's not that. It really isn't. I'm here to help. If I can, shut the door and bring business your way, I really don't. We're resilient. We want to help businesses, but also we want to collaborate. I'm not a business owner that, it's all me. It's like, how do we spurt this? How do we bring about other people to encourage them to, do an advance? When was the last time Jasper had a 10K run? When have we started doing that? Can we do that? I do believe anything is possible, but someone has to start. And it may be just like 10, 20, 30 people show up. No problem with that. But it has to start somewhere, right? Next slide. This is the actual rendering of the space. The Pizza Hut, we made a decision, I made a decision to demo it down. So I will pay for that. None of anything you see from the ground up, that's me. That's my cost. That I've estimated 1.354 million. right around there. But underneath, the problem is, if this property was by itself, that's great, right? But it's not. I have all that 3.5 acres in the back. A good 2 acres of that, all that water comes from AutoZone to Harbor Freight and part of, what is that building between Harbor Freight and Tractor Supply? Some of that runs right on the other side, we gotta direct that. All my asphalt, that where the Sun Asian Bistro sits, is gone. All that has eroded. It's eroded due to old age, but just water seeping into the asphalt, right? I can't allow myself to put a building and then it sinks. It doesn't just sink right away. You know, you start seeing doors misaligned. You start seeing, you know, windows, sheetrocks cracked. Those are things that you can see. And especially in Jasper, there's a lot of rain, especially during rain season. I think there's rain season here. Now, what are we going to do? For the building one, I do have a couple of great ideas, but I also have other tenants. Our goal is to move a family up here from Houston to operate that. Son and I will operate the Sun Asian Bistro, and that'll show you the inside, designed by interior space, right? Now we create this great space here, but how does it communicate? How does it bring people together? How can they sit there and enjoy some time? What if they want to just throw a little bit of football? Well, we got a little grass space, right where the food truck is. I don't mind renting that food truck. We can be rent-free for the first year. I couldn't care less. I just need them to be there because that business, if they come to the Sun Asian Bistro, they don't want to eat. Guess what? They can eat that food truck. If they don't want to get, tea, they can get snow cones. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's snow cones here. But another great idea is ice cream shops. Where do the kids go? Where? I mean, I'd like to know. So why can't we have kids? Now, can kids be here while seniors be here? Can, college kids be here? Yeah, there's a place that college kids can be here. We have a bar inside the Sun Asian Bistro. So as you can see, we've also made it to where this is a place that we can have everything all at once. If you'll move on to the next slide. This is another version. The only problem we have with this version is that it doesn't work. It's just very inefficient. There's a lot of glasses, and I don't know if we want to go to that extent. This just costs a lot, and so that was the very first thing. The second thing was all the glass panel. We have sun come from this side, aiming that way. We lose a lot of heat, especially with the, I think we pay a lot of money in electricity just at the overhead. Next slide. Interior design. So we hired a really good interior designer, Greg. Greg has been doing a lot of Japanese work. He's also studied Moroccan culture. And so the inspiration that I'll show you is it's create a space that's inviting, that's also create a space that tells a story about who we are. It also has 2 meeting rooms. Right now, we do have meeting rooms here, but what if you can have food and have meeting rooms? And what if it's a meeting room that's open to the public? That means you can reserve online by having access to certain privilege. Does that make sense? It's not by just owned by me. It can be accessed by a 24-hour reader card, right? Another great thing that I've learned operating this restaurant is the kids after school, the 3 hours that they get before the shift starts, they're doing the homework. So inside, we've created what's called a quiet room. That means you can go in there, you sleep, right? You can do your homework, that's so quiet, right? And right now, I do know Ms. Hall, that some of the kids do the homework on while they walk in. So we're okay with it. I grew up in 1994 at the Chinese kitchen. I was that 13, 14-year-old kid that was washing dishes, came into the front, and cashing out people. I did that. Now, that was really frowned upon. I would never do that in Austin, but I got away with it here in Jasper. Does it look bad? Yeah, I know for any high-end, luxury line, you don't see that. But we can do that in Jasper because why? It's still family-based. I see some businesses, mostly, Asian culture, they do that. Some small mom and pop, they have their 14, 16-year-old kid. And I want to still instill that. I don't want to just open this place up and say, no, you can no longer use homework here. Do it at home, and then when you come here, you're in your uniform, that's it, we're out the door. That's not who we are. We're flexible. We want to build, as long as you're here doing your homework, with sponsors, getting your stuff done, and then by the time you finish your shift, you're not tired. You're not going home 10 to 11 trying to finish your homework, stay till midnight or 1. That's not who we are. Now, interior design, the biggest draw that I do want to point out is the sense of home. This is a place that you can come and do your homework. This is a place that you can eat. You don't charge them money to eat. I don't know if you guys know that. We never made them pay. We do believe in building our kids. And I will leave the slides up here for you guys to read more. Let's go to the next one. When we started with the design, I took all the pictures off Pinterest that I liked. I told the architects, this is what I want. This is the budget. We exceeded that budget, but that's okay. And a lot of these designs are within the code, some are not. I'm very proud of the restroom, but what does the restroom do? Does it increase our sales? All the time. But this is what I'm willing to do. Next one, sorry. This is the palette, this is the feeling. When you go inside, bring that feeling, just instead of just putting white walls or dark place, dim it down, or metal bricks or wood. This is the texture we have selected for our place. And it's not just something I can just go to Lowe's and get. These are imported stuff. These are stuff that I have to work from Wilson Art, a company that makes it on the call. And so the cost of building this is a little bit higher than just normal that I would do, whether it's 200-300 square foot. Okay, guys, this is at 4,956 square feet, so roughly 5,000. Okay, can we go to the next slide? This is the rendering. The rendering for this place. What I'm really proud of is that party room, because that party room, there's not only one, but there's 2. The very first one has 12 seats. The second one has 8 seats, so I can accommodate that. But also in the sushi area, we have tables of 6, we have tables of 4. Those tables of 4 and 6 can be connected together. We're getting away from the Chinese feel. We're getting away from that, shellac, licorice. Now we're in 2020 already. Restaurants in cities like Houston, Austin, they're very elevated today. I don't want someone from Beaumont or Houston to come here and say, this is just another city. They're like, wow, Jasper has this. That is what I would be proud of. And I hope that the community can see that too as well. It says, man, you know what? They've done a great project. I'm proud to have this here. I can come here, and we're not increasing price astronomically. Maybe a 3%, 5% bump to pay it over 10, 15 years. We're okay with that. We do have a better bar. It's lit. The reception is a little more open. Not the biggest fan, but there's a reason behind that design. The next one, sir. This is the restroom. The restroom is a little more modern. That whole part right there on the bottom, where the rocks are, that's very architect. That's not going to happen. We're just going to finish with wood. There are 4 sinks. What I'm also really proud of is the garden tea room. So if you order tea right now, it's just not tea. It's a kettle pot in a Japanese pot ceramic with 4 cups, and you sit on the ground, just like a tea ceremony. You can order that. It's a great place. It's a great thing to come eat light, have tea. In London, they make tea rooms everywhere. In Europe too, some fancy places. Let's go to Sunday tea. For us, for example, some of us, it's like, hey, let's get together in a coffee shop, right? And so how do we do that? Next. This is just behind the reception. So one thing that the Sunny Beach does really well is to-goes, right? We've seen our to-goes dropped, but I do believe this will help us to speed it up too as well. Just have a counter, to-go sit there. A lot of the establishments right on here have great, it's mostly to-go. So that business of ours is not going to go away. Next slide, sir. This is the choir room we're talking about. We're going to put a couple of computers there. If they don't have their own computer, we'll provide it for them. Okay, all the other rooms, 2 chairs to go to sleep. When I go to these FBO, which is a flight-based operator, you park the plane, you go in there, and they have a quiet room for pilots. So you rest 15, 30 minutes, an hour, go to sleep. You want to stay overnight, and when you're ready, just take off. That does help with the mind. If you can just pause, take a deep breath, I believe that's very, very important. Next one. One thing I had pointed out was, where are these pictures? Where are you guys getting this from? I don't see it. And so I get it. I had to show diagrams so that where we would understand. We rendered this off this building. We didn't just grab some pictures, and these were generated. So I'll leave the slide, and I can just walk you through just a couple. Like for example, this garden right here is the furthest one that's pointing through the garden. This room that's on the lower left-hand corner is that part of the room pointing out, and then all the others are pointing in this direction, so you can see have a visual, feel of what's there. Next. The question, what does it cost me? And then, what are the costs that I need help? I don't need help with that. I don't need help with the door. I don't need help with the ceramics. I don't need help with the concrete. I don't need help with steel. I don't need help with building that anything can slap up. What I do need help is utilities and infrastructure. Before starting this about a year and a half ago, I had no idea how much these things cost. I think San Antonio project was the biggest item for me. We were 3 times under budget from what we anticipated. That one has a fire alarm. The good thing about this is we don't have a fire, right? So let's go through some of these construction. I'll go through this quick because we don't want to spend too much time doing this. Like I said, it is transparent. I want to be transparent. I want to build the trust so you guys can see where these costs are. Next one, sir. This is a spreadsheet. If you look on the lower left-hand corner, that's a Google Doc. That lines every single item. The red, anything you see in the pink, these are the slides, the 2 spreadsheets. Anything that's red, I've already paid. Anything that's green, or potential work that I'm willing to hire here in Jasper. Not all trades I was able to find. For example, we have mechanical contractors here. I went to Billy Wilford. Billy, can you put this together for me? I need these the fire ducts in and 3 AC. He was like, well, hey, you have a system that's different from what we're used to putting in. And I was like, well, what if I get this up for you? Can you do it? He's like, well, sir, I have to politely decline. And on top of that, I don't do kitchen hoods, right? So there's nobody here that does kitchen hoods. So I have to get that from out of the city, right? If I'm in Austin or San Antonio, there's 30, 40 contractors that do that. So those items are in the teal blue. For example, the steel that I have to get, it's not the red metal steel, these are structural steel. They're 1/2 inch, 3/4 thick. They're super heavy, you go by the tons. So I outline all this, what I have to get from out of the city. I do believe this project, it's gonna be a good 20% of this money. I would like to spend it here. If I can hire a landscaper here to do it, great. Some of you guys are gonna good luck in finding that. But I do believe that once this project goes up, there will be some people, whether it's not here, maybe the unit, maybe Silsby, maybe, from San Diego, I don't know. But I just do need someone that has good knowledge about landscaping, behavior. Other things is no cleanup, we can hire a local crew, okay? Anything that's in yellow is what will be covered by the proposed Jasper budget, okay? If, for example, if we're already pulling in the power line underground, and it stubs up, and there's a part of the electrical that says underground, I zeroed it out. That means it's already covered. We will take it from the ground up. We'll come in and disconnect your meter can, you know, or taps. We'll run it through the panel, panel A, panel B. Right, this is a little too much information. Anyways, I'll leave it there. Everything is transparent. It's online. Nothing has been adjusted. You can see it. I didn't just grab this number. This is based on historical experience when we did projects. Next slide, sir. Operation costs. Well, it's only 112,000. We have everything. We technically have almost all the kitchen stuff, right? But we're gonna replace the furniture. We're gonna replace the bar stool. We're getting new bar equipment. That'll pay, right? Usually for a restaurant, these things go about $250, give or take. Furniture equipment, installation, RPC, stuff like that. Next one. We can go past this. This is sales. This is not important. This is where I need help. Yeah, can I put a metal steel building from Miller or from Metal Depot and do something like cedar tree and, you know, put in some doors and windows? I think I won't get the same effect. I really genuinely don't. I don't think that I can bring a space that would mimic what the architects or the designer, or the landscape architect designed. The reason why I said that, these guys studied for 8 years. They went to college for 4 years, and they went on and did their residency for 4 years, got their license, passed the test. There's a reason why their work, I've learned to appreciate their work more. Right? They see things differently than we do. And one thing he did warn me is keep everything, you know, don't just go for something that is convenient because of the budget. There's a reason why we do this, and I want to keep everything harmonious. Okay. Site and excavation utilities. Can you go to that slide, sir? Next slide. So I'll speak right through this. This is a survey. This is a survey that was done by his company. This allows us to see where the water goes, and we have designed accordingly. The slope is not that bad, but there's a lot of water based on the water. Okay, go to the next one. I'm sorry. So we have to demo. In order to clear the space, we have to demo the electrical lines that run across the properties. The one that's running through the goat sector. The city has decided to, behind the barbecue place, pull a line in. Oh, let's put a transformer pad. 2 years ago, that transformer pad, I believe, was quoted $72,000. Any of the city people that work at the city in the budget department here. So that was what was quoted for us, and that's if they have a KVA of 250. That does not include the line. That was just them running from the pole down to the transformer pad. The reason why we want it underground is in order to put this, to create a space where it's inviting, we didn't want all that mess that goes overhead. That does take away. Yes, it's going to cost a lot, but in the long run, it's going to pay off. This site plan is designed for easily 20 years without maintenance. The Japanese, when they start business, they don't say, I'm going to make it 5 years or 7 years. Their average span, when you ask them, I'm in business for 20 years. That's where the mindset is. And so applying the same aspect, we did beefed up our electrical, we did beefed up our infrastructure. We did, instead of doing a 3-inch slab, we went at 4.5, 5 inch. We still stuck with asphalt. Yeah, go ahead, next one. This is area drainage map. And so right now, everything just kind of runs through the front. By putting in infrastructure, what happens is that water can seep down underground over time. And if it does, it can erode the foundation, it can loosen landscape infrastructure off. And so what we do, we have to build coverts. Water will go around, or it goes under the building, collects in these storm basins, and then rushes off the that's the correct way. That's most of the way we've done it here in cities. When I go outside the city suburbs, I see, like Libertyville, they can do whatever, they have ditch like we do. But in cities, we don't have ditch, we have storm areas. Next. This is just a rolling plan, which means that, whenever we start excavating all the sand there, does it go to the front, does it hit the TechStop land, and, does it make oil out, and so we have to control that. Next slide, sir. This is the grading plan, so, it's pretty level. We don't expect too much of this. This is basically just making sure it slopes forward, that we're not building it, and then all of a sudden, the pipe goes up. And then now we gotta redo everything. This is a grading plan. Next.
Well, wait, just a time check, it's 45 minutes in, so.
Okay, I'll speed it. These are the utility plans, and I'll make this all available. You guys can go to the next one. Next. This is the storm plans, which I'll show you a quick video on Mason. This is a storm basin. If anyone's never seen what a storm basin is, there's going to be 6 of these on the property that collects water, and these are about 1.5 ton each. We also have 36-inch pipes and 24-inch pipe. I thought it was plastic pipes, to be honest. And I thought it was, rain gutter that you can get at a tractor supply. It's not. These things that go underground to channel water. If it was just my property, that I collect rainwater from the top of the roof and gush it on the front, that's fine. But right now, I can't get all that water that's on the north of the property. The civil engineers already thought so many ways to do this. They thought about just putting culverts and just going around the property. It's just too much water. It's just not a little rain. When it's a heavy rain, we got a problem. Right? So that's, if you guys never seen it, I just want to show you what it looks like. This is the work that's involved. Can we go back to this slide? This is what I'm going to do. The building is 5,000 square feet. Let's include the Pizza Hut at $250 a square foot, puts me at 1.25, plus 10%. I will put that money in to do this building, but I cannot pay for the site. The bid I've gotten, which I've made available to Mr. Bill, we're still waiting on LCD bid from Lufkin. I'm getting another bid from Houston for Merrick, but this is from ARC. ARC has given us a bid for 1.27. And those bids are in the file. This was received on this is the company. I'll make this available. You guys can contact, ask the owner any questions you guys want. This is their estimates for here. This will be available online. They're out of San Antonio. That is the bid. I fell out of my chair when I kind of wanted to find out that there was not the approved $230,000 that JEDCO that we agreed to. This is what to do what was on the civil engineer plan. This is the cost. They even showed me the pipe. The material alone is over $100,000. So as you can see, there's no way you can do it for $230. And I'll make that available too. This is coming from straight from their supplier. Just one of the run of the pipes. And so there you go. That concludes what I have to say. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions, so if you reserve just a few minutes to answer any of those questions, I'm here. Now would be the right time. I do have my contact information, to provide too as well. If you guys want to email me, that too as well. Guys, I can't do this. I do genuinely believe that this money is going for a good purpose. It's, I'm putting a half of my money. I'm willing to do it, but I cannot put 2.5 for your building. It just doesn't make sense in Jasper. Okay, $1 million, $1.2 million, $1.3 million, you know, make it up somewhere, right? But, when I bought this 3 years ago, I never had an idea it would cost this much. I think that if I were to go buy a building anywhere in Beaumont, right around here, I know, of this caliber, it would cost me $1.8 million. So I can have that, or I can have 3 places with a center, it's right on the intersection, and I think anybody drive through campus. So, I thank you guys for your time. Any questions?
Okay, wait, I'm gonna open it up for questions of the board, I just want a clarifying question, first of all. So are you asking JEDCO for the total $1.27 million for the infrastructure?
I don't know how that's gonna come, whether I have to raise more extra, or we have to cut the costs, that's exactly what I'm asking. I know that my project in San Antonio was slightly under 790. And so, but that was 20,500 square feet. This is 62,000 square feet. Slightly over 1.5 acre.
Question, what's happening to all of the buildings, are the freight, tractor supply, and
It's open.
all those on?
It's open. We're not putting a fence. There's parking right behind the space. So all of that, a part of their property is our property. About 20% of that parking lot is ours. We're leaving it as is because it's a great thing. Now we have boat fishermen that can park there and meet it, whereas we have a lot of congestion at where we're at.
Is this a corporate structure you have with other members of the corporation, or you sold?
It's only son and I.
You sold?
Yes, sir.
Sold?
I'm open to investors.
Right.
10%. Why not? Yeah.
So you mentioned something about others coming in 200-something thousand.
That was me. 200-something thousand. Sorry. Oh, there was a bid that was by a concrete company. That was, yeah, I think the owner of Arth basically laughed. I was like, there's no way. Why are you so much? When he handed me the bill, I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't realize that 10-foot pipe was $1,000. So,
So did you have other economic development assistance with other communities where you've done previous work?
in the city of San Antonio, there you pay for everything. Even historical, when I developed the sidewalk in front, which is public road, I had to pay $31,000.
I don't know why, but,
So there is no assistance. Austin, unless I'm Apple, I don't get it.
there are regulations, and that's all I'm gonna say about that, so.
Yes, sir.
I think it's a wonderful idea. I've worked both in economic development, 20-something years, and federal housing programs. There's one, this reminds me a great deal of where you showed the complete development there. It's called Housing Choice Neighborhoods, and HUD recommends a mix of residential and commercial.
Mhm.
They pay a lot of money into that development, that sort of development. They're starting at 12 million and go on from there. But it does bring in people who live there who become ordinary shoppers and go have lunch and et cetera, in those locations. They're also built adjacent to other commercial areas. By involving the residential part, it boosted the interest of HUD, which is one of the richest, at least the richest that comes to local communities.
It's a great concept. We have a lot of that in Austin. Retail's on the bottom, residential on the top, and it creates a community right there.
Any of the board members have questions? So Wade, we haven't about, how many incremental employees would be hired, over the structure you already have.
I think for me, I think for me, it's not gonna be your 50, 70, 90 employees. It's not gonna be that business, but it's gonna be the business that's gonna be there after a while.
Overall, how many employees do you employ with your other operations?
So my restaurant, that's 2,400 square feet, I have 27 employees. That's
And
2,000.
one restaurant?
I have one restaurant.
How many other restaurants do you own?
I have 2 restaurants, 2 bars.
So,
Yes. And then I'm about to have 3 bars.
And that's an increase from what's currently employed?
Currently, so historically, we have 15. To be sustainable, 25 is a fair number. The tea shop, we plan to have 3 to 4. In the other restaurant, you can expect about 20. So, if you want to count that. But I don't want to include that in this number. What I can promise you is 25. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. I don't want to tell you that, I'm not a restaurant that's going to go out. It's not going to happen.
So would these employees be from the Jasper area, or you bring employees from another area?
No, Jasper. I don't think anybody in Austin wants to move to Jasper.
Well, you said you had someone that's moving, that's
For training,
around.
for training, just to start off with. But what I mean by the resources is being able to have someone that does, $1,500 an hour making cocktails, come down here for the first month, train that skill set so that they can deliver that hospitality. Seeing is believing. I've also brought my bartenders to my bars in Austin. They can't handle it. There's just no way it's like a deer, with a headlight on. It's very different. It's, 1,500, that's, I just, like I said, I'm not where I am because of myself. I'm there because I built great personnel that can do that. So the marginal increase, I don't think about the marginal increase. I really think about what does it also drive, right? And I think the other values eat waste just as much. Healthy living. If I live another 5 years, you know how much I can make?
what's your timeline?
These gentlemen are wanting to start end of January, February. Yeah, I think the plans are. I think they're just waiting. Mr. Jeremy is waiting for me to send a revised bullet, which I'm kind of a little disappointed, but I'm willing to compromise if the city is willing to meet me somewhere. But again, I would like to get a number from LC. Sorry, it was given. Give me Leland's contact. Somebody gave me Leland's contact. I love him. We're still waiting his number. He was not able to provide that bid. And then we have another bid coming from Houston. So once we know that, that should give you that average.
I have two questions for you. First one, with your hires, ratio, kids in high school, adults out of high school, over 21, bartender type. What are you looking at with, as far as pay rates starting for the kids, if you're going to be utilizing them as servers?
Currently, right now, we pay them $3.50 an hour, and they make tip. Most of the shift they walk away with, the lowest on a night is $80, but they can make 120, 150 a shift.
Okay, and then,
That's kind of average.
so is your bartenders rate the same as the servers?
That's a good question. So I do pay them more. I pay them $5 as much as $8 an hour. Some I put on Saturday. Depends on if they're there the loyal. I had a bartender there for the longest time. I can bring it back. We do need people to come back. People that has left, I can get back.
And what is your ratio as far as adults of
Adults
21
to
or over
students.
to students?
Right now, we do have more students. It just really depends. We don't look at somebody just based on whether their age. It's just how ready are they, or how fast they can move, and if they can deliver. If they can, there's some excitement with the younger generation. It's a first $20 bill, and just love it, and so, and they think that pretty cool. I have been getting on to them about the phone policy and whatnot, but that's just, you know, you have to compromise. In my restaurant in Austin, you see your phone, you're out. It's just non-negotiable. I mean, my average ticket there is $176, so it's very different. Whereas here it's less.
So you asked the JEDCO for what? What amount would be?
I believe if JEDCO in the city, is this just JEDCO or is this a city? I don't know anything as far as when it comes to how these budget works. I just do know that I have my family and I have been here since 1994 to 2001. We've also, you know, built a restaurant. I'm pretty sure they generated income in this in 2014 to 2025 plus more. And if our health is good, another 10, 15, 20 years. And be happy to sun. Our goal is to replicate sun right now. That is my mission.
What's the ask, right? You're asking, what's?
I asked a question.
How much are you asking?
Yeah, so can you rephrase your question one more time?
I'll be happy to.
Yes, ma'am.
So what are you expecting JEDCO?
What I'm asking,
Yeah, I'm gonna take it around like you
I
did.
would like for JEDCO to hire a utility contractor and just deliver me the site. That's it. I can take off the rest. I will pay for the concrete and build up. I just can't bring in and build
Okay.
So what is that?
Let me be more.
So whatever that costs.
Yeah.
1.27.
Yeah, right, as of right now, if that is the only bid, it's 1.3 million.
Yeah, it was 1.27.
1.27.
1.27
Yeah,
million.
but you should never go with the first bid, you should always go with more bids, and because of the time constraint that I had, I don't have room in this number. And again, I wanna be transparent, he's a third party, I've never met this gentleman, I've spoken to him a couple of times. Merrick is a very big company, they're probably gonna be the highest, but I wanted to give you guys an idea. Yeah, so, and I don't, right now, I have to get those numbers to you guys.
Okay, thank you.
This is not the, we have to be, what do you say, not cautious, what do you say? You have a question, is this the right number? Okay, if I can say 100, if I can say 10%, I do. Because at the end of the day, it's still my money too. Because I do believe that it's just not, here's a check, because there are conditions, and the attorneys are very good with it. And last thing is, if we do fail, you know, which is, there's always that possibility. But I'm not gonna be that restaurant that takes its money and put it into the hood, or takes its money and put it in the window. I have my own money for that. Like I said, I'd be very happy if you guys can take that. In fact, I don't even know how to do those things. I don't. I do know how to put in a sheetrock, I do know how to put in a window, I do know how to, you know, install a toilet, you know, design a brick bar. I do know how to do that. But when it comes to these storm drains, these 1-ton structure, I don't even know how to weld, so.
Wait,
Yes.
let me throw this out there, maybe we can wrap this up. First of all, and I think I've said this since the first time I saw this presentation, I love the concept, I like everything about it. And one of the points that I've always raised is it brings something to the whole community that we don't have now, and that's a place for people to meet. We don't have that. But anyway, that said, I would recommend you push your other two contractors, get numbers from them and bring that back to us.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Then we can start.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the right way, even if we can save a good chunk, that's all, I don't look at the numbers, I look at how I can get there.
Sure.
Right? How I can, like, the infrastructure, if they wanna charge me some kind of rebate program, they can take all that profit, I don't care, I just need to keep my food, I gotta get the slab, I can't put a slab on with the wrong foundation, with the wrong infrastructure, I can't have all that rain. There was a reason why the civil engineer designed this. We've looked at all aspects of the water.
Well, you bring us numbers and we'll have another conversation.
And like I said, my extension is to have this available to you guys. I'm not, you know, it's there, nothing is, it's transparent. My background is in accounting. We pride ourselves in transparency. But I don't wanna be that owner, it comes back to you guys, oh, I need $350,000 for a fire extinguisher, or a fire hydrant system. You know,
So-
that's not gonna be me.
So that we can yes, sir.
Question.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, so we can summarize this, what you're really asking for is underground electricity to your two to your site where the pad mount is, underground sewer, and storm drainage.
Wet, dry, wet, dry, and infrastructures. That's it. Everything goes for.
And I'm not familiar with this utility. Is there anything that utility here in Jasper does to offset if you're gonna bring a certain amount of revenue to the, is there any construction, kayak, in other words, payments made at construction, and that the city helps you with some of that infrastructure as well?
I have not gone that far, but if
Okay.
they ask me for a 70,000 transformer pad, that's gonna be out of the JEDCO, part. I would really hope for support for that transformer pad instead of that power line run across.
So one of the things I would suggest you do is get an estimate of how much power you're gonna use, and talk to you.
1,000.
You want it?
1,000. It's a 600 CM cable.
Well, that's your capability. I'm talking about what your monthly bill would be estimated and stuff, so you can go to the city utility and see if there's, anything they can do for you as well.
Oh, okay. Like a rebate program, is that what you're
Well, it's not rebate, it's anticipated revenue versus cost.
okay.
You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times utilities will do things if the revenue's gonna offset some of that cost,
Okay.
then they can help you out with some of it. But, they're not gonna harm the other customers. It all depends on how much power you're gonna use. You see what I'm saying? So it has to pay for itself.
Same with water and sewer.
In other words, the city's gonna get revenue from your rate payment. So is that something they can use to help you with some of the cost, if the revenues can be great enough to offset those costs where it doesn't harm the other customers? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would have you estimate your power usage and everything else, and talk to the city as well. There might be something they can do.
I know at the Sunday distribution, we pay around 2,600. Someone else we pay as much as 3,000. That's 4,000 square feet, we're at 5,000 square feet. But our tonnage is much more.
And you're gonna have 3 buildings instead of just one.
Yeah, we have 35 tons here. That can have 22 and a half.
Yeah, it's just a suggestion. I don't know if they can do anything, it's just a suggestion.
Yeah, anything every 1,000 homes.
Yeah, the number's pretty steep, and that's why we're saying come up with other numbers.
Yeah.
It's, I wish I grew up in engineering and understanding all these utilities, but I just happen to be an accountant that just knows how to make money and.
So, any other questions from the board members that we haven't touched on, and we can wait for different numbers and.
Let me just say this, it's a grand plan, but there are other resources, not JEDCO, state inventors and also at the federal level that might be brought to the table if you would take this into consideration as to what the effect is going to be overall. Same things that we're talking about, but there's also sociological effects and moving Jasper into a new century.
Yes, Mr. Collins, if you guys do know of any, please pass it. That's why I'm relying on your experience. I don't have as much experience in some of these other avenues. Like I said, I can't do this by myself. I need everybody help.
That's what we're here for.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you coming, Wade.
Thank you very much.
Any other final comments, or? Okay, thank you, and we'll look forward to more communication. Okay, yeah, I'm, review meeting location requirement in the JEDCO bylaws.
Yes, sir. And I can go there, real quickly, Mr. Chairman, in section 4.8 of the bylaws. The concern raised it was the location, name, I think we used Sam Rayburn, and some of the other, other graphics noted on the sign there. What I changed it to is regular meetings, the board meetings are scheduled monthly on the first Tuesday of each month at 5:30 p.m. at 500 South Willow Street, Jasper, Texas, 7
Okay.
Just the physical address that the building is located. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the, new meeting location, address as noted in the bylaws.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor, I have a second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? So just for clarity, you're not referring to the name of a building, you're referring to the actual physical address?
Yes.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passed. Okay, review the NDA language provisions previously discussed.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, what was previously discussed regarding the NDA is that I use Jasper County Economic Development Board, and I was actually changed the language to Jasper Economic Development Board. And so that was the only change made to the NDA. So Jasper Economic Development Board versus Jasper County Economic Development Board. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I think every member of the board should have gotten a copy, a soft copy of the latest version of the NDA. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the noted change as mentioned.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, any discussion? Without call question, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passed. Okay, I think, Tina, I think the next one's of yours. Collect rate information and percentage yield for the CDs at the following location.
I did go to, Southside Bank, they do not provide printed, rates, they were trying to give them to me orally, that's not gonna happen. So, if I couldn't get, the rate sheets. You'll have in your package, you have First State Bank rates as of Friday. It does say September 22nd, so they haven't changed it yet, I'm assuming that they will at the end of the month. And then the other sheet is, Dukewood, the one that says November 18th, and both of them said that the rates can change at any time. Currently, we have CDs, with First State Bank, we have a money market account, which allows us to move money in and out from the checking account to the money market or vice versa. And right now, at this time, we have in the money market account, I know this is down further on the agenda for this reporting, but, we have 2.871 million in the money market.
Spread out between different locations.
No, that's just at First State Bank. I do not, I'm still having issues getting a hold of the statements that are up to date. I think they do them quarterly with Dukewood and Southside,
Okay,
and I have not been able to locate those statements going back through this fiscal year.
so have we requested that information from them?
I have not. I also wanted to address fairly quickly, we're just talking about the interest rates right now that are available. So I'll address the rest of the story when we get down the agenda a little bit.
Okay.
So it looks like at this point, on the Do Good CD, the 12-month certificate is paying the most, at 4.25%. With the First State Bank, their rates aren't as good as the ones over at Dukewood, so.
So let me ask a question. It sounds like we're paying 1 basis point, we're getting paid 1 basis point less at Southside bank for the flexibility of being able to move money from one account.
First State.
First State,
Yeah, First State Bank are, the money market account, because we can move it around. My opinion, I don't believe that we need to have 2.8 million in a money market account. We're not at that, we're not utilizing it. We should have it in a CD, at least to 6 months, because I think that we're getting 1% right now on that money market account, which is not very much.
Yeah, and one of the things we found out, just for the information of the rest of the board members, at our primary bank, we have our operation account, and we also have the money market. And we deposit most of the money into the money market account and move it to the operating account when we need it. But because of that flexibility, we're only getting 1%, or it's kind of discounted, but we got quite a bit of money in that. So one of the questions we need to discuss, is whether we need that much flexibility and get that much money that's not bringing in any interest or not. So anyway, that's kind of what Tina's reporting on is. We're only making 1% on over $2 million, and that's, to me, that's a travesty.
So are we discussing taking?
I didn't have it on the agenda, but
It's just
we definitely need to
informational.
talk about it at our next meeting.
Informational, okay, and then in the meantime, I'll go ahead and get from, Ray. And I actually was going to, if it's okay with everyone, to go to PNC and, is it Stella, I think it's called Stellar? Stellar, and get their rates as well, so that we have a good understanding of what is, the going rate around here, and PNC as well.
So let's do this. We can't really discuss and, do any actions, because we didn't notice it, but one of the things we ought to be able to talk about at the next, regular scheduled meeting is get the other rates.
Yeah.
Let's put it in the most competitive process and be ready to discuss it and take action on it. And by that time, we should have all the new rates anyway for the new year.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for Tina on that report? Okay, the next one would be items for discussion and approval, discussion of the sports complex updates. Let's be as brief as we can.
Okay, real quick, basically, we're in the operation process of doing our supplements, he was on this board and the previous board, and since the board had added new board members, I would like to put together a meeting for the new and previous board members to kind of get together, so that's what we have right now. With the holidays, it's just kind of hard to get a date. Mr. Green may have something else you want to add, that's what we have right now.
Well, I have one question for Mr. Cannon, and I would like for the whole board to clarify this, because I read the minutes of the last meeting, and it says a whole new committee was appointed and approved. So I either got kicked to the curb, or those new members are add-ons.
Yes,
Yes.
they're add-ons to
They're
the,
additions.
we're supposed to be meeting with the old group.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, that's what I called it last time.
Okay.
Since you're on both, I will get you kind of, get what other.
So, and a lot of what I had asked Nicole to have something related to this on this agenda as well, and just real quick, because unfortunately, I had to miss the last meeting, but every day, and even from the news stories and all the white noise and all of the balloon juice that was spewed all over town, apparently no one has any idea of what the real plan and concept is. And so, when we can get together, the old and the new together, I think a lot of lights will come on. And so at that time, we can start having some more intellectual conversations, and I will share what the whole plan has been since day one.
Yeah, and just for information purposes, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but, we were, this thing, the election took place in 2009.
Yeah.
The land was purchased a few years ago, it hadn't been that long for the land. But, you know, and I know people have been working on it, but, you know, as far as I know, nothing's been brought back to the board about what kind of money can be raised, how it's gonna be raised, how we were gonna pay for this.
And those are some of the things that I can address.
Yeah.
And we actually, now I will tell you, there were 3, maybe even 4 other attempts to buy suitable property over all these years that we're talking about. And before we could get to the bottom of the last inning, it just went south. You know, so there was a lot of reasons why some of those other properties didn't play out. So anyway.
So we'll look forward to you having the group, having a meeting,
Yeah.
and then bringing the information back to the board.
Yeah, who are the members of that board?
The whole group.
Combined, where?
The new board is Mr. Lewis, Mr. Seastrom, Ms. Parks, myself. Well, you're on the, Jessica Larkin.
What combined, so.
And then the old was LaGlenn, Kenneth, Sid Stover, Chris Lanier. Was Warren on there?
Yeah.
Charles,
Charles Warren.
Charles.
And the main thing
It's
we're
in the
looking
minutes
at,
also.
Yeah.
It's in the minutes.
Yeah, so the new members again is Lewis,
Seastrom,
Eastron,
Sparks, myself, and Jessica Larkin.
and so, Tina, you don't want to? No, I'm just asking. Yeah, I'm not appointing, I'm just asking. So that's it, okay?
yeah,
Yeah, I got one other thing. From the previous board, there was a bid, for everyone to get a chance to update. The old, what we know, the Lone Star Ball brought that name, that contract was through that, the new rock, top, the pole, the fence and all that's been done. We go out, we follow the bid, and that bid, we have approved by the board, $3,500. I've given that to Tina for she, another meeting, we go ahead and pay that to the contract.
May I be recognized?
yes, ma'am.
I would just like to say one thing, because I know there's a lot of talk about the ballot, and I brought it up last time from things that I make research and everything. And I just wanna make it clear, especially for the taxpayers, and I mean, y'all can do what you want, sports complex, it's not gonna affect me one way or the other. But for transparency purposes, I pulled this is JEDCO's on paperwork that they had when they did it was like some day where they invited the citizens to come in to look at their, you know, and so on their own paperwork, it says in 2008, a ballot proposition was made 2009, a ballot proposition to allow JEDCO to use some of its funds to assist with the athletic fields in Jasper was approved by the voters in May of 2009. And then it goes on to say that they provided the Youth Baseball Association matching grants or whatever. But that is their own words, and so I just wanna make it clear, like, it wasn't a ballot proposition for a sports complex, it was very, and Mr. Getz even said the wording was very, like, vague. And so, I just don't want the people to end up with something that they don't really want without voting on it. So you can do what you want, you can push it through, or however you wanna do it, but I still think that the citizens themselves should have a say-so.
Yeah, and LaQuinn, I apologize, I mean, I know you had other things going on the last meeting and stuff, but I think the conversation was, we still wanted to work with the old board and find out where it was going, but we were very interested in how the money was gonna be raised, if the money was gonna be raised, or whether the plan was to use JEDCO money. And I think what I've been told is we bought the land, everything's, but I've been told that everything else was gonna be funded by, either investment or grants or something else.
Yeah, the plan on paper, the perfect plan is totally investor funded. Totally.
So that's what we talked about in the meeting you missed, is that JEDCO has done what it was going to do, but we still wanted to work on it.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, but, let me add to all of that.
Well, I'm gonna recognize Steve first.
So at the last meeting, I think we had made a decision on what going forward 28 years, is that correct?
We made a decision to appoint new board members and to work, you know, and discuss where it's gonna go.
But I thought we also said that JEDCO would not invest in additional funds in sports complex at the last meeting. I thought that's what we discussed.
We discussed some of that, but it was in,
Okay.
My turn. The vote was purely to authorize the use of 4A money for a 4B project, which was a sports complex. Period. It was so poorly worded, it could have been kicked out by a court decision, because it did not have an amount, did not have a date, and it wasn't clearly defined as to what it was. Now, I don't want to say those things and propose it, because that's, 15 years behind us now. So, I still hear a lot of support for the concept, and they say it pays for itself, and I will believe that. But the discussion was, could we use JEDCO 4A money? Yes, you can, because you followed the law. It was in a ballot, and it was approved. 4A money for 4B project.
Well, and I agree with you, Mr. Tom, and I don't want to contradict you or anything, and that, I think that's great. But I think that it should be proposed to the citizens in wording, simple wording, that they can understand, so that they can go and say yes or no, instead of 15 years later having to try to explain it because, well, I don't remember, I wasn't there. So, you know, that's my thing, if you wanna move forward with a sports complex, we can throw anything on a ballot, so why not just put it back out there?
yeah, and,
Well, you could do that, but that question is simply a decision the board can make right now, whether or not to involve the city in making those decisions.
and that's what we talked about at the last meeting, is basically, if there's any extra money spent on the sports complex, this board will be the ones to determine that.
Sure.
Because we have already spent to buy the land. We have already spent $212,000 for the existing ball fields in town since over the last 10 years or so. We have the numbers. So if there's any additional, and that's the discussion I had with you, and the promise I made to you is, if we spend any additional money, it will be up to this board whether we do that or not. Is that your recollection of the discussion, the summary?
Yes, I just want to make, the only reason why I asked to be recognized is because I did see that, and I just, you know, we can all be salesmen and just say what we wanna do and sell it without actually having the true facts there, and I just don't want the people to be snowballed.
Okay. So let's move on to the next agenda item. Wrong glasses. Okay, so review bylaw language for the city approval for the executive director candidate.
Mr. Chairman, I re-reviewed and reviewed several times the bylaws, and there's no language in our bylaws that ever mentioned an executive director. So, what I propose that we table is, and I'll work with our attorney on drafting some language around that. So our bylaws specifically focus on the board, members of the board, and what our responsibilities are as a board. But when it comes to the executive director, there's nothing, no language in there.
So what I'm hearing you say, because we did take a vote that we would present to the city council our next executive director, there was some opposition to it, but it did pass. But what you're looking at is a whole different section of the bylaws that's not there.
Yes, sir. So I need to work with the attorney on some language, and I want to make sure that we do the right thing in terms of the terms and conditions around what needs to be spoken.
So I don't think we had an action item, well, I guess we did have a discussion for approval, so what I'm hearing from you is a motion to table.
Yes, sir.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Second, I'll call the question, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, motion to table approved. Okay, discussion, consider for approval the quarterly financial report.
Last week, the auditors came to JEDCO and wanted to look at the books, and they were able to look at the books, and obviously, there were holes in the data from approximately April to August. What y'all haven't been told is some of the things that I've been trying to organize. There was a drawer full of envelopes with receipts from the banks in no particular order, and there's probably about 200 of them. So going through all of those records, having to pull them all out, organize them, getting them into order by year, there was 3 years of receipts. Going through all of those, making sure that everything was there. And then having to reconcile the bank statements with each receipt that has been deposited. So within that last week, I have went through the entire account from January until today. And I'm happy to report that our checking account balance is to the penny. However, on the money market side, this is a good thing, but not a good thing. On the money market side, the bank says we have about $58,000 more than I can find receipts for. So I'm missing a receipt. I do not know where it is because I wasn't here. So I will be needing some assistance from an accounting firm that Brody, to help locate that money, because the receipt, I can't figure out what the combination of those funds are, so that's where I am with that.
Okay, let me give some color before you move on. When Tina says there were receipts, what she had to do, some of them were entered into QuickBooks, most of them were not. So she couldn't just enter it into QuickBooks, she had to go find the receipt, then try to rectify it, and find out if it was already entered, so it wasn't double counted, and that took a long time. And we're going through this exercise because the auditor, we met with the auditor, last week, and we're getting ready for the annual audit. And I'm happy that the accounts balance except for the money market, but that's what we're trying to do is get the books up to date so they can be audited. And one of the things I want to be ready to talk about, unless you were going to mention it, was to consider utilizing an accounting firm for monthly reporting and monthly double checking. And I don't think that was on the agenda, so we can't really take any action on it today, but I do want it on the next agenda, that we would consider having an accountant to double check the books on a monthly basis. So, okay, go ahead, Tina, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
So I gave you a bunch of I gave you the latest statement, actually the statement current from January through December 4th, showing all deposits, transfers of, in the checking account at First State Bank. So you have all of that information. It shows where it says credits and, debits and credits and balance. The balance is for the money market as you can see, there are several properties that we definitely need to update, the values. Let's see,
Okay. So what you're really reporting is the value of the land and fixed assets is what you're talking about.
yes, it is. Everything is a work in progress at this point. The next page that I have is, some of our ordinary income expense. I don't know why it's cutting off the top, but it seems to be out on all the reports. We received a check for $5.79 from James. We received two, sales tax checks. This report is foreign to me, so I'm sorry, it's trying to pull one up and didn't do a very good job on this one. We paid $1,500 to, Jasper Lake Sam Rayburn's, Chamber of Commerce for the courthouse, lighting, which was approved from last year's budget, so we just carried that over. Then as you can see, the deposits for the interest income. So that's from October through now.
So let me ask a question. You have mentioned to me several times that we need a newer version of QuickBooks.
Yes,
Do you know if you have the budget to do that, or do we need board action to do that? Is that in the
I
budget?
think that would be a board action.
Okay, do you know how much it would be?
It is between $2,000 and $4,000, depending on the version that we would.
Okay, that's something else we'll need on the next agenda then.
Not recognized.
Yes.
So would training come in with that as well?
Yes. It would also give, so it would be based on, in the cloud, so that the officers would have read-only access to the program to see what's going in and out, and have 2 or 3, it depends on the version that you get, or more, that can actually, write checks off of the account. So I would want to be able to do that, obviously, and when we hire the executive assistant, that person would be able to do it as well.
In my understanding is the current version you have is not being maintained anymore or updated anymore.
So right now, if you go online and download the documents from the bank, the statements, you could potentially, with the new software, import them into the software and have it reconcile with what you've already entered. Right now, the software that we have is so old that QuickBooks no longer supports.
Well, that's what I was after, it's not being supported, so that means there are no updates, there's no security updates or anything else that can.
And there's no backup, so if we lose that program, there's nowhere else that it is except for whatever Mr. Scott has backed up for me, so I don't know exactly.
So, again, we'll have that on the next agenda, so.
But that backup was on the Valley House, I backed that up, when we first came on board, so I don't know if the systems have been backed up since then or not.
If you haven't done it, they haven't done it.
So we probably need to do take them back up.
Yes.
Yes.
Since our QuickBook is so old, do our computers, do the computer need to be updated?
No, the computer is relatively new, I believe it's 2 years old.
I don't even think it's that old.
I think it's less than 2 years old, so it's fine, it's more of the actual program itself is literally, I wanna say it's like 14 years old. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And so there will be a monthly fee to this too as well, is that correct with QuickBooks? They charge a monthly fee? if I'm not
Yes, but
mistaken?
it's a yearly, and then, a yearly fee, depending on numbers of users.
Mhm.
And I don't recall if there's an actual monthly fee, but I would assume that there would be.
Now, is that incremental above what we're already paying, or we already paying a fee?
We do not pay a fee right now, at all, because we own the
Yeah,
software.
but that's about confidential.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, we'll take that up at the next meeting. Okay, so Tina has given her report. Do we want to, I'll make a motion that we accept the report as given.
Second it.
I'll second. Did you have a question or were you going to say?
No.
Any discussion? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposition? Any abstentions? Okay. Okay, discussion and consider for approval the travel and lodging reimbursement policy.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I've emailed, members of the board a copy of the recommended, travel and expense policy. At this point, I'd like to make a motion to accept, the policy that I recommended, to the board for consideration.
Okay, so I have a motion that we accept the policy that was sent to the board members. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Is that a state rate for the travel?
I'm sorry.
Is there a state rate for the travel? Or is it just, we're going with what the city use?
No, we're not gonna go with what the city used.
We're going with the
We're
state.
gonna go with the state recommends. The state's policy was a little bit different, it's more tailored for, FTEs and employees, whereas we're not FTEs.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any opposition? Okay, our travel policy has been approved. Okay, the next one is discussion, consider for approval the proposed bylaw addition, explicitly stating that no director shall serve a term longer than 6 years in accordance with Texas local government code.
Mr. Chairman, in section 4.6 of, our bylaws under tenure, I noted the recommended change as noted in the meeting agenda, that no director shall serve a term longer than 6 years in accordance with, the law. And with it, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, I move that we accept the new language in 4.6 under tenure as noted in the meeting agenda.
Okay, let me see if I can get a second. and then do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
Yeah, my question is, when we say this serve no longer than 6 years, we're up every 2 years, right? And then you have to be recommended again the next. So are we saying in this that after 6 years, you are no longer allowed to be on the board? That you have to come off? Is that what we're saying?
That's what was discussed at our last meeting, I believe that was the recommendation.
I actually believe that's what the law says. Okay, any other questions or discussion? Yes.
You didn't say that.
My understanding.
I don't know if it
is-
says consecutive or what.
My understanding is that anytime you have any kind of limit, when that limit, you've reached that limit, that person is, let's just say, off the board, they can still, he or she can still be considered for another term of 3 2-year terms. So
I think we need to research that.
Mr. Getz, do you happen to know?
I believe Mr. Garza himself will tell you that.
Okay, what I'd like to do is while Mr. Garza's looking that up, table this to the end of the week.
Okay.
And, based on what he finds, then we'll go from that. So do I have a second on the motion to table?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? So we'll move that to the, before we adjourn tonight. Okay, discussion possible action regarding hiring of assistant to the executive director. I would like to table that until after the executive session. Because, you know, we were gonna discuss the interviews that took place, and we also have a different recommendation that was submitted as well. So, I think it's more appropriate to do that after the executive session. So, do I have a second? Okay, any discussion? I'll call the question, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, we'll take that up after the executive session.
Non-disclosure and code of ethics.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about those in executive session and take action and report afterwards. So at this point in time, we're reached the part of the meeting where we're gonna go into executive session. I appreciate it.